Hello everyone, Rivka here with the Havas Hinnom once again. I just wanted to address an issue of what Gentiles and their place in the body of Messiah is. So there's a misconception that Torah observant believers, both Jew and Gentile, are obligated to Torah, as in the first 5 books of Moses and the rabbinic laws. This is not the case. In fact, Paul explicitly says that Gentiles should not convert, but they should be happy with being Gentiles. There are situations where it is proper to convert, however, and Paul always encouraged Jews to live out the Torah. But I wanted to address the issue of Gentiles and what are Gentiles commanded to do? If they come to Yeshua and into a community of observant Jewish people, how are they supposed to function within the community? And I wanted to address that. So the Gentiles, God-fearers, have 7 Noahide laws according to Judaism, and all Gentiles are obligated to these things. And I'm just going to read them off. So do not worship idols or other gods. 2, do not blaspheme God's name. 3, do not murder. Do not commit sexual immorality. Do not steal. Do not eat things that are still alive, i.e. meat with blood. Establish course of justice. And I'm going to focus on number 6 because a lot of Christians and Gentiles think, oh, we can eat whatever we want. I did address Acts 10, and I'll address other passages that people claim that Paul said you don't have to keep kosher. And so actually in Acts 15, it talks about Gentiles not being allowed to have meat strangled. Interestingly enough, that is not in the Torah itself. That is a rabbinic prohibition. You're not to eat anything with the blood in it. So actually in Acts 15, Gentiles were commanded to eat kosher meat. And so there's a whole other, and also too, a lot of meats were sacrificed to idols and so forth. And if so, for example, if you buy meat that is halal only, or meat that is halal is sacrificed to Allah. They bless in the name of Allah, so therefore it is a false god, and you can't eat it for the idolatry reasons. And I will be addressing the issue of Paul saying that you can eat whatever you want in terms of meat, served to idols and so forth. That is a very misunderstood passage. But in terms, so that I just wanted to get that note. So all the other ones usually, so if you look at Acts 15, abstaining from sexual immorality and so forth, they actually really coincide with the Noahide laws. And then you have that one about not eating blood or meat strangled, which presumes it's a kosher slaughter. So Gentiles should be buying kosher meat. And in terms of separating meat and dairy and that kind of thing, that's not explicit. So there in that passage, but at least according to Acts 15, Gentiles are required to have kosher meat. And because of the issues of idolatry, and the blood is considered what keeps things alive, that's the soul of the animal. So even Gentiles should be buying kosher meat. So if you are a Gentile or a Jew, you should be buying kosher meat, even according to Acts 15. And also it deals with fellowship issues. If a Jew, if you're fellowshipping with a Jewish believer and a Gentile, you should be able to eat together, including the meat. So typically, so this is also a fellowship issue. So if everyone's eating kosher meat, makes it a lot easier than going, well, this is non-kosher meat and this is kosher meat. It's pretty, if you don't have kosher meat in your area, you can order it, or you can move to places like Chicago, that we're trying to form a community, to be able to access that kind of and have fellowship with one another. So that's the issue of Gentiles and what they're obligated to do and what they're not obligated to do. So things they're not obligated to do is wear kippah, tzitzis, circumcising their sons in terms of religious obligation. I have talked to Moyles who do circumcisions, but not religiously. They do circumcisions on Gentile boys, but they don't do the ceremony because that would, for health reasons or whatever, and that's fine. So there you go. If you have any questions, please comment. If you have any objections, I would like to have that discussion with you. So Gentiles are not obligated to the first 5 books of Moses. Generally speaking, you should not be converting unless with a few exceptions, such as if you're married to a Jew and you want to raise your children Jewish, that would be a legitimate reason, or God leads you that way. I'm not at all. I'm a convert, so I'm not, it's kind of case by case basis. And Jews should follow all the laws of the Torah and the oral Torah. And my husband actually did a debate on the oral Torah thing, so you can go watch that and see the defense for that. I'm not going to do an 1.5-hour video of that. So I hope that explains where we're coming from in terms of Gentiles, and we're all one in Messiah.